Hello guys, it's the C# Programmer Zambia, Clarence Simukanzye, and today we're going to be looking at C++. So as I mentioned earlier, I said we're going to be looking at two programming languages, that's C# and C++. I mentioned that in the previous video, but what I'm going to be doing is I'll be creating these videos independently, obviously. So when I upload a video on C++, the next video is going to be on C#, just like that. So for C++, we're going to use our IDE code blocks, and then for C#, we're going to be using Visual Studio. All right. So I chose code blocks for C++ because I've noticed that most people use C++ and code blocks. All right. So we dive right into coding. We simply open our code blocks compiler, our code blocks IDE. Right, so as that's happening, C++ was derived from C. Okay, so what actually happened is that the creators of C++ simply got some features from C and then added an object-oriented part. Okay, so we'll discuss what object-oriented really is. So to define C++, we can simply just say C++ is a general purpose programming language that is used to create computer applications, anything from art applications, music applications to games. Okay, and as we said, it was derived from C. So in order for us to create our simple program, okay, so the simple program we're going to look at is the hello world program, the most famous program, as everybody knows it. We're simply going to say create a new project. So we simply click create new project, and from there we're going to be looking at console applications. Okay, so we simply double click console application there and make sure that the language that we want is the highlighted language before we say next. So we simply say next, and then we can give our project a title. So our project title is simply going to be hello world, because that's what our project is all about. It's all about just displaying hello world to the screen. So we can say next, and we have to make sure that our compiler, the right compiler, is chosen. But anyway, most of the times it's this is the default compiler for code blocks. All right, so we can simply say finish from there. Okay, next we have our sources here under our hello world. All right, so what simply is under the sources is our main.cpp function or method. So we simply double click, and then we already have our hello world there. But then let's just delete this and let's create it from the scratch. Okay, so we're going to include we're going to add our hashtag first. Okay, so this hashtag include simply tells the preprocessor to include a certain header. There are so many headers in C++, but for now we're going to be using the IO stream, because the IO stream is simply a stream of commands that is used for inputting and outputting data. Okay, so that done, we can simply say next. The next thing is we're going to tell our compiler to use the standard namespace. So we can simply say using standard namespace, using namespace std. Okay, so from there we can simply maybe just add a blank space. Actually it's called a white space. So the first thing that we do is declare the data type of the return type of the function, okay, which is int. You're going to see why we're saying int. So you simply say int main. Okay, so the main method is simply the entry point of every program in any programming language. Okay, so our int main is going to be followed by brackets. Okay, open and close brackets. Okay, so inside these brackets we have what we call arguments. Okay, but for now we're not going to add any of these arguments. Okay, actually it's not the word arguments that you have to type in there. We're going to look at that when we get to classes and objects, when we get to functions, when you get to look at functions at a more specific level. So we simply press enter, and then we can have our curly brackets. So our curly brackets simply represent the first one represents the beginning of our main function, the last one represents the end of the main function. So our project here is simply going to be outputting hello world to the screen. So we simply say cout. Cout is used to output data, and then we have our insertion operator. So the insertion operator tells the compiler to include what we are about to type here to the output. So we simply, add our inverted commas, I guess that's what you call them, and then in between there we can simply say hello world. All right, okay, from there we can simply close our insertion operator. Okay, so after that we're going to say end line. Okay, so this is simply written as end l, and it simply tells the compiler that this line has ended, so another line is coming up, or whatever is coming next. Okay, then we terminate our statement. So this whole thing we've created is a statement, and in order for us to create to terminate it, we simply add our terminator, which is the semicolon here. Okay, so if you don't add your semicolon, your program is going to return some errors. Okay, and it actually won't run. So we press enter, and we have our return. Okay, so return simply return 0 in this case is simply going to terminate our main function. Okay, simply an int. Okay, so it's a 0 is an integer, and int is used to represent integers. Okay, so from there we can simply just build and run our project. So I guess you can see that's exactly where you have to click, or you can say F9. Okay, so I'll just click F9 and it should run. So it's building, I guess you can see, and it has run. So I guess you can see our hello world has been displayed to the screen. So thanks for watching this video, and make sure you subscribe to this channel for more videos concerning C++ and C#